Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT News. It has finally arrived. The massive Chamber update has officially been confirmed. Pretty much every part of his utility has been changed now. Significant nerfs pretty much all across the board here. Some buffs, some nerfs mixed in, but the pros seem to agree pretty much unanimously this will kill Chamber at least in part. Maybe he's viable on certain maps going forwards, but probably not viable across the board. What does this mean for the best teams and the best players in multiple regions? Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, here, well, let's just dive into the Chamber stuff. As Mixwell said before this was confirmed, 1 minute of silence for all the Chamber 1 tricks because of a nerf that is coming that will leave them frozen. So if you're a Chamber 1 trick, you are no longer in effect, it seems. So as VALORANT say yesterday, officially confirming the fact that they are making changes, Chamber has remained a dominant pick and we need to strike the right balance between preserving his identity as an agent and maintaining the game health of VALORANT. So we're making changes to most of his abilities in patch 5.12. So here we go. These are the changes to his abilities. The teleport has taken a serious change, right? And I was kind of saying the other day, the teleport is one thing that you can't remove it because it makes Chamber, but you've got to make it significantly worse because this is one of the reasons why Chamber's so good. The fact that you can stand like anywhere basically with Chamber, get a kill or at least get a shot off with the operator, your free operator sometimes at that, and then teleport to like anywhere and you really have no idea where he's gone half the time. Like, it's not so ideal. So now, instead of placing 2 anchors, you place a single anchor, and I think they should have done this all along. I thought this is the obvious way to do it, to be honest, from when he was first released. But you now have a single anchor that you can now teleport to while you're inside its radius. Now, that radius has been increased according to these numbers, but the actual, this is actually the diameter, so these numbers are actually incorrect. And I'll show you guys in a second that this is actually a significant nerf compared to the previous version of the rendezvous, rather than a buff, as it seems to suggest here. Removes the height restriction, which is kind of interesting, and you can teleport to the anchor while on a different verticality. That's also kind of interesting. So there are some alternatives here to make it a little bit better, but the major nerf, it is a major nerf. We'll see that in a second in terms of the radius. You can't just teleport to the other side of the map anymore. If you do teleport away, which you still can, then okay, yes, it's okay, and in certain circumstances it will still be viable, but it's kind of fewer and far between now. You can't just plonk it down anywhere and make it work. You have to be kind of calculated in where you deploy your anchor to and where you stand, and even when you do teleport away, you're not just miles away and they can't get to you. You will still be vulnerable in those positions. They've also increased the weapon equip time after teleport, so a bit of a cooldown there in terms of bringing out the weapon. Headhunters aren't affected by this though. Destroying the rendezvous anchor now disabled until the end of the round. No longer gains a cooldown when recalling the anchor after a teleport. So some buffs, some nerfs, generally though in the negative. For the Headhunter, updated stability curve. Spread increased after the second bullet when spamming. This is meant to reduce low precision body shot spam as an effective combat measure, which is fair enough. If you're going to use the Headhunter now, you kind of have to go for headshots with it. Trademark, the trap now, this is the thing that kind of frustrates me, is that Chamber is meant to be a Sentinel, but yet his only Sentinel ability, really, has now been nerfed again. The trap is now range restricted. The trademark will disable when Chamber moves out of range. Once he's inside, he can reactivate it. So that's, really, he has to be kind of close to it to even make it work anymore. Can be recalled mid-round, doesn't require a line of sight. So, this one is kind of, a frustrating one, to be honest, to use from that perspective, but we'll see about that. The fire rate, as well as the tour de force, has been decreased significantly. So now it shoots way slower, which is probably a change they should have made a long time ago. And even now his slow, which applies to both the trademark and the tour de force, has been reduced a little bit in terms of duration and ability, and also size. So these are nerfs pretty much across the board. So these are his rendezvous changes, just to make you guys aware. This is one example here on binds. So if you put the teleport thing, the anchor down here, you get this radius that comes out from it, obviously, and if you're within the radius, you then can teleport back into it. And in a circumstance like this, it makes a fair bit of sense. But there will be situations that you could use it in the past, that now it's no longer viable. There's also these trademark changes, right? So you put it down on the floor of the trap, and if you get too far out of range, you'll then see that it says, deactivating the trademark, and then it will get deactivated if you leave the range. So that's a pretty big nerf, to be honest. And then these are the ultimate changes. This is how fast it fires now. Obviously, before it used to fire so quickly, and now it fires this fast. One shot, you know, and 2 shots, so like that's a big difference between what it used to be. So most pros seem to think GG's, Chamber's over, done and dusted, nice try. Now initially some people thought, okay, maybe not the case, because look, the teleport is overpowered, it's still an incredibly powerful ability, you still will be able to get a shot and get away with it with effectively no risk, but still, it now is significantly worse than it used to be before. But you know, there were some questions about this, because even as Doombro said from Na'Vi at the time, do they just buff him, right? Because now he can pick it up and replace it very quickly, no cooldown it seems in that sense anymore, so there is one positive there. But if you look at you know, and even as Bo says here, kind of joking around the fact that Ye is now going to be officially unemployed from Cloud9, but this is the change. So prior, the radius used to be like this, right, where you could put the 2 anchors down and teleport between them. Now the radius is this, so it's not 26 meters, it's well, the radius is 13 meters, the diameter is 26 meters. So it now looks like this. If you're in this position with this as your anchor, this is now your new radius to which you can teleport to, and this was effectively the old one, right? So yeah, the range is now significantly reduced, and if you do see a chamber teleport out, you know that he can't be very far away, and also now his operator shoots way slower, so if he misses 1 shot, like, he's probably done for. So yeah, you've got to be way more careful, I think, now as a chamber main. And as Fnatic says, Mr. Rito, I don't feel so good. So is Chamber dead? Does this kill Chamber? Because they've nerfed a lot about him. Makes you wonder really, how did they allow him to be so strong before? Like, if they have to nerf all this to make him balanced with the rest of the agents, like, you know, damn, they did a pretty bad job on their initial balancing, to be honest. And as Ye says, though, they straight up murdered Chamber. So yeah, what do you guys think? Is he murdered now? Is he gone, done and dusted? Because thing is, he's still got the teleport. The teleport is still a very strong piece of utility to have. Yes, the rest of his abilities now got worse, but like he's still a very strong character, I think, in terms of what he purely has. Just everything he has is now worse. But still using him well, I think he can be viable. But there were certain maps like Breeze, for example, where he wasn't really too viable on anyway. And okay, people still used him, but now I think he almost certainly won't get used there, because if there was some maps where he was like maybe used, maybe not, probably he's not going to get used anymore there. He's probably still viable on 2 or 3 maps. But that's probably what we want from Chamber, right? A 40 to maybe 50% pick rate in terms of agent stuff. Like, I think that makes sense. But, you know, Ye is snappy about it. This even from Sentinels is pretty funny. Just tried the new Chamber teleport, you know, teleporting straight into McDonald's. So, yeah, will this kill Chamber, or is there a decent chance actually that, you know, he's still viable an awful lot? Because some think he is and some think he's not. TenZ is one example here, suggesting that from his point of view, Chamber is gone, it's over, Chamber's done. Even ShahZaM reckons Chamber changes are good. Many pros have wanted some Chamber nerfs for a long time. Now they are finally happening, and you know, they are very significant, to be honest. Now the thing that does frustrate me a bit is, like, you know, as a Sentinel, he's now almost kind of useless, right? Because even his trap that makes him a Sentinel is even worse than it was before. Maybe you could give, you know, 2 of them again or something, I don't know. But as some reckons, you know, Chamber mains are crying, so he's pretty happy about it. But now, what is the conclusion here, right? Because with Chamber gone, what happens now? Like, you know, what do you use the operator with? Is Jett going to be back in force again? Are there other agents that are potentially viable? And also, what does it mean for some of the top players, you know, the likes of the Ye's? No, like, Ye is unbelievable anyway on the Jett, on even the Breach. I know he was joking about the Breach hop, but, you know, players like Cryo, for example, like, look, Cryo's incredibly talented, but we haven't seen too much of him at a professional level without the Chamber meta. So we'll have to see how that works out for him, and maybe the Chamber meta remains, right? But it's just, you know, and only certain players can use it effectively. Kind of happened with Jett in a way, that Jett was so good that everyone could use her, and then since the changes to Jett that they've updated her with, like, she's still viable, but you need to be pretty careful when using it to actually make it work quite as well, and only certain players seem to be able to use that to the best of their ability. So, you know, Valorant reckons that maybe the Jett Killjoy meta is going to be back in business here, and who knows what happens with Cypher, right? Because, yeah, Cypher now as a Sentinel could be a far more viable option, and even Killjoy as well, than Chamber, just because as a Sentinel he doesn't really make much sense. On certain maps he'll probably still work, but yeah, might not be the case anymore. So do you guys think this is enough to significantly nerf Chamber and you know, reduce his effectiveness significantly? Wiltis talks back here on some previous changes, you know, Raze in the beta, Sage in 1.07, Killjoy in 1.11, and other agents, yeah, Astra for example in 4.04, that were changing her, and also Jen in 4.08, that did a good job really in changing and significantly nerfing these agents when they were too powerful. Now they've done that with Chamber now, they're attempting to do it. They made a couple of changes before but didn't really do much difference, and now this is a major nerf coming through ahead of the new season to try and completely change up what compositions people use, and I think it probably will have that effect. Has it gone too far though? That's another question, but I think his utility is just so strong anyway that he'll always get some use even with this significant nerf that has come come through. Definitely tweet your thoughts in the comment section below. Just one final thing to close out with here from Flynn, his latest updated tier 2 spreadsheet. And this is pretty spicy ahead of the first split of the season. So just some updates and changes to look at. Some of the teams you can't really see too much difference on. But you know, for example, on G2, Oxy is now considered to be pretty likely to join the team, with the rest of the team probably still there as well. So that is probably going to be their team of 5. You guys can see the other ones. Tex is not guaranteed to the guards. Few other changes. The one interesting thing that I noticed there was under Toast's organization. So we know that Toast is going to be signing a team. We've heard those rumors for a time. We wondered who he was going to get, right, because we thought maybe Stewie 2K's team with Zoms and those guys, like that are apparently going to be called The Nation or something. But Zoms is now retiring, right, and Brax, Exalt, and Wardell might be rounding out that team of 4 looking for 1. But Toast might be signing these guys with Ocean as the head coach, Clear, Demon, and then Steel, right? And apparently, you know, this is a current rumor going on, so it might not happen at all. But, you know, we've seen other rumors, such as in the previous situation here, Hazed was a rumor for TSM, and now that seems more and more likely. Steel might be coming back, formerly 100 Thieves, of course, and many other organizations in his history, iBuyPower and the like, could be coming back to Toast organization for the upcoming Challenger circuit. So that's a pretty exciting prospect as well. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.